homily given in the church on Holy Saturday. What is happening? Today there's a great silence over the earth, a great silence and stillness, a great silence because the King sleeps. The earth was in terror and was still, but God slept in the flesh and raised up those who were sleeping from the ages. God has died in the flesh, and the underworld has trembled. Truly he goes to seek out our first parent like a lost sheep. He wishes to visit those who sit in darkness and in the shadow of death. He goes to free the prisoner Adam and his fellow prisoner Eve from their pains. He who is God and Adam's son. The Lord goes in to them holding his victorious weapon, his cross. When Adam, the first created man, sees him, he strikes his breast in terror and calls out to all, "My Lord be with you all." And Christ in reply says to Adam, "And with your spirit." And grasping his hand, he raises him up, saying, "Awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will be your light. I am your God, who for your sake became your son, who for you and your descendants now speak and command with authority those in prison, come forth, and those in darkness, have light, and those who sleep, rise. I command you, awake, sleeper. I have not made you to be held a prisoner in the underworld. Arise from the dead. I am the life of the dead. Arise, O man, work of my hands. Arise, you who were fashioned in my image. Rise, let us go hence. For you in me and I in you, together we are one undivided person. For you, I, your God, became your son. For you, I, the master, took on your form, that of a slave. For you, I, who am above the heavens, came on earth and under the earth. For you, man, I became as a man without help, free among the dead. For you, who left a garden, I was handed over to Jews from a garden and crucified in a garden. Look at the spittle on my face, which I received because of you, in order to restore to you that first divine inbreathing at creation. See the blows on my cheeks, which I accepted in order to refashion your distorted image to my own image. See the scourging of my back, which I accepted in order to disperse the load of your sins, which was laid upon your back. See my hands nailed to the tree for a good purpose, for you, who stretched out your hand to the tree for an evil one. I slept on the cross, and a sword pierced my side, for you, who slept in paradise and brought forth Eve from your side. My side healed the pain of your side. My sleep will release you from your sleep in Hades. My sword has checked the sword which was turned against you. But arise, let us go hence. The enemy brought you out of the land of paradise. I will reinstate you, no longer in paradise, but on the throne of heaven. I denied you the tree of life, which was a figure, but now I myself am united to you, I who am life. I posted the cherubim to guard as they would slaves. And now I make the cherubim worship you as they would God. The cherubim throne has been prepared. The bearers are ready and waiting. The bridal chamber is in order. The food is provided. The everlasting houses and rooms are in readiness. The treasures of good things have been opened. The kingdom of heaven has been prepared before the ages. I've always loved reading that homily early morning on Holy Saturday. It's an awesome reflection of the resurrection. On Good Friday, we venerated the cross, the ugly instrument of torture and death used by several different powers to subjugate people and keep them in fear of that repressive regime. Today, Christ takes that cross and turns it into a sign of victory, exploding death from within. Death, to be feared as a final consequence of sin, an end, total and complete darkness, and in the tomb, our bodies transformed back into dust from which we came. That death, now sent running by the one who in secret and darkness came with that instrument of the cross and batters down the doors of the ancient foe, the prince of death. God has taken on our form. The Lord of creation became a slave. He entered the world in a garden, was betrayed in a garden, and buried in a garden. As Eve was taken from his side in the Garden of Eden, so on Calvary the church was born from his side, from his very heart. We are all expelled from the Garden of Paradise into a land of gloom and darkness, of suffering and sweat and death and sin. Sin that still plagues us, imperfection, lack of self-control, even hatred still fill our world. Redemption is a continuous process, no matter how old you are. And now, we are returned to the land of paradise by one like us in all things but sin. Our garden awaits us. Death no longer prevents us. Sin can be forgiven, for mercy has met it and overcome it. Hope is restored, and a mansion with many rooms is made ready for each of us.